am here to give you some helpful hints on the Sonata in F minor by Telemann, which is being asked for the All Southern, All State audition piece for bass trombone. This is one of my favorite pieces to play. It's so beautiful and it has a lot of emotion. So you want to make sure that you're connecting with that when you're performing this. In the first movement, I suggest that you work a lot on your legato playing. Make sure that you are putting in all the natural slurs, and all the things that you're tonguing are very, very connected. There's a lot of parts in here where, like the first two measures. The first measure is mezzo forte, second measure piano. So it's like you play the statement and then there's an echo. So you want to make sure that that is coming across. So this piece has a lot of dynamics, so you want to make sure that you work very diligently on that. The other thing is phrasing for this piece. You want to think about where the line is going and how you can convey what the composer is writing. So how would someone sing this? So you want to be thinking of those things when you are preparing it. While you're doing all these things, I suggest that you record yourself as much as possible. We're so lucky now that we have all these ways to record ourselves, whether it's on an iPhone or an iPad. I use the app Tunable, and you can record yourself on there, and there's a metronome on there. And the great thing is, if you have an iPad, when you listen back, you can have the tuning part of it on, and you can see where your intonation is. So then what I do is I go through and I mark anything that, say there's an A flat that's sharp, so then I put an arrow down over that A flat so that I remember to kind of flatten out that note every time I get to it. I can't express enough to you how important it is to record yourself. So make sure you do that all the time. Use that metronome, use that tuner. So going to the second movement, the most important thing for this one is articulation. You want to play in the right style. So this one kind of has a lot of nice and kind of light and airy feel to it. So you want to make sure that at the ends of all of the slur marks, you kind of put a lift on it. So if you're playing dee 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 yum bum bum da da dum ba dum ba dum, instead of playing da 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 da. So you want to kind of get into that style and make sure that you're putting that into your articulation. Just like the first movement, we play the first phrase and then it repeats itself and it's an echo. So make sure that that's very obvious. So when you listen back to your recording, make sure that you can hear the difference. Sometimes when I'm playing something, I think that I'm really conveying a crescendo, and then I listen back and it's not very obvious. So then I have to go back and do more so that it's very, very obvious to the listener that that's in there. So that's one of the very helpful things about recording yourself. And also with the second movement, make sure, since this one is a little bit faster, that if you can't play it at the tempo, that you slow it down with the metronome, and then once you can get it, say you put it at 80, and then you can play it really good at 80, then try 82, 84, and then keep increasing until you get to the tempo that you want. You want to just make sure that everything that you play, the tempo is right on and that you don't slow down or stop. In the third movement is very similar to the first movement. Very legato. You want to put in all your natural slurs. You want to make sure that you're doing all the crescendo, decrescendos, that you're doing the phrasing. And just apply that same thing that we were talking about the first movement to the last movement. And if you do all these things, it's going to really help you in having a successful audition. One other thing that I do want to mention is to make sure that you write in all your breath marks. Okay, most students don't realize that they're taking a breath as often as they do. Sometimes I have students that take a breath every measure, and when I tell them, did you know you were doing that? They have no idea. So look through your pieces and mark where you're going to take your breath so there's no surprises, okay? And you want to really work on playing very long phrases. So with all of those things, if you do all of those things and prepare really diligently, I believe you'll have a successful audition. So thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope it helps.